Welcome to HotParade.tv. Candace Owens, she said Nigerian-Americans are the most successful ethnic groups in the United States of America. For those who do not know who Candace is, Candace, according to Wikipedia, born April 29, 1989. She is an American conservative commentator and political activist. She is also known to be pro-Trump, and she criticized Black Lives Matter, and she also criticized the Democratic Party in the United States of America. Well, I'm not going to bore you with the earlier careers and ideologies anyway. So if you want to research about that, you can do that. And while you're done, may I remind you to kindly tap on that subscription button and also the red notification icon bell below, so you will be the first to be notified whenever videos are uploaded. Here, according to R, this is our Twitter handle. Here she writes, Nigerian Americans are the most successful ethnic groups in the United States. Nigerian Americans are the most successful ethnic group in the United States. If you want to know how it's possible that blacks will come from underdeveloped Africa, keep outperforming blacks from overprivileged America, well, it's because they weren't exposed to the Democrat parasite of victimhood. Now, guys, you agree with this sentence that she made here, and she went further to say a lot about all this. But then let's look at the comments. Here is Wale Gates, and Wale Gates replied, Nigerians, please don't jump on this nonsense talk. Candace did not care when Trump called Nigeria a shithole country. This talking point is used to dismiss the systemic racism that affects African Americans by playing highly educated immigrants against African Americans. And here someone writes, I am curious, how does this mean going against African American? We shouldn't believe it as truth. I'm reading exactly how the person wrote this. We shouldn't believe it as truth because you feel it goes against African American. Maybe I am missing something. And Candace Owens replied, replied. She said, part of being infected with the victimhood parasite is freaking out at the mere mention of the success of others. Ignore him. His victim seizure will pass. And here is a Kenyan saying, what's up, Candace? First and foremost, I want to salute you. You've been a thought leader to me. You have led me towards embracing free thinking. Anyway, I can attest to this fact. My uncle left Kenya in early 2000s for USA via green card. Today, he runs a successful supermarket. If I was an American, I would absolutely vote for Trump without blinking. Imagining America being led the globalists. I'm not going to go with that. So I think this is still a Kenyan responding to Mr. Alex, saying another embarrassing Kenya out there. Now, here is someone. Mr. Helgi said, I worked closely with a few Nigerians years ago, the happiest, nicest, and the hardest working people in our company. They requested overtime, worked through schedules, breaks, worked weekends, etc. Just great people who worked for their futures. And here someone say, because we have to send money home to poorer relatives and spend a lot too. So this Francis Awobode Awosunle saying this. So someone writes, one abroad is probably feeding over 100 relative things we do for family. Then someone replies, when you think about one uncle that asks you for just 50,000 naira, 50k medical bills, you will do 1 hour or 2 hours overtime. I think you can give him that money, goes a long way. If you live in the United States of America, or you're in diaspora anywhere in Europe, it could be just anywhere outside of Nigeria. And do you agree to what these guys are saying? Do you agree to all of this? If you have a different opinion, you can drop that in comment section below. Yeah, someone writes, it's super tough for some chaps that have dependents with illness or just no income. My guy here in Jan supports 5 siblings, and mother just died. Imagine the also. Here someone writes, there's a lot of space between the well-to-do class in Nigeria and underdeveloped Africa as a generalization. Now that's the point. I wanted to correct that there, but I said, well, let me allow her, probably that's our own way of expressing our own thoughts. She used the word underdeveloped. Now there is something funny when you look at the banking sector in Nigeria. You send money online, electronic banking, and within 3 minutes, at times 2 minutes, the money arrives at the other end. It doesn't happen like that. It's not like that in Europe. You don't send money and immediately the other person gets the money. So I don't know of the United States of America anyway. I think probably it's the same thing. You just don't send money and you get it immediately within 1 minute or 2. So she's talking about on that development. Probably she's focusing on something else, so I'm not going to fault her on that. Probably she's looking at some other angles. But then when you talk of development, there are a lot of things that we can actually point at that indicates develop. If she said developing would have been probably better. Because everyone is kind of trying to like develop every time. We're trying to get better every time. So if she used the word developing, that would have been better rather than underdeveloped. And I cannot kind of relate with the underdeveloped and the overprivileged America. So she's not saying developed America. She said overprivileged. So I thought Candace should have used underprivileged rather than the underprivileged. So we need to look at the use of words here. Underprivileged Africa. Now when we talk about privilege, we're not talking about resources here. We have so much, but we don't have leaders and we don't have good minds that would, I won't say good minds. I think we don't have people with true conscience. People, well, maybe you can say we don't have people with good mind, but we do have people with good minds. It's just that they don't have that. They don't have the opportunity to be in that position. Sometimes when they actually get to that position, they end up being like the rest of the looters there in Africa. And sometimes you see some of them, they don't want to leave that position, that seat. And so let me go ahead with the comments. Let's see what people are saying. Here someone writes, these Nigerians are not living in these Nigerians are not living in huts and chasing lions through the desert. They are well educated and ready to make things happen. Yeah, someone writes, so me that I'm living in Nigeria, I'm living in a hut. I think I got that correctly. So here the person's right. So me that I'm living in Nigeria, I'm not living in a hut and being chased by lions. Wow, it must be very stressful to live there for some people. Yes, all right, he was being sarcastic. Yeah, so no, he was not. Yes, someone writes, my son-in-law is from Nigeria and he is the most goal-driven man in his age group I have ever met. He's a super positive influence on my daughter, and I love him dearly for who he is and how he loves her. And someone here writes, louder man, so the world behind will hear you. Such praises on good Nigerians don't trend the way bad news fly. God bless you, Michelle, for saying what you know. While you are here, remember I follow back. And this is from Dr. Ben Luno. Someone else writes, this is Joe Spade, say, I know a few. Very true. In fact, discussing this point with someone 2 days ago, they seek opportunity, not fighting history. It's about the future. So that's it about Nigerians. They tend maybe not to want to get involved in some issues. They just focused on what they are there for. And that dream, that goal might be a bit too much for some people because they feel like this person. But that's just it anyway. Yeah, someone writes, yeah, bro, that's a real Nigerian spirit. The good guys far outnumber the bad guys. Just that the world talk more about the bad guys, but we are good and forward thinking. Yeah, someone writes, such an ignorant, divisive, drivel. Many immigrants, Nigeria included, have already overcome financial and educational hardship before entering the United States, which helps. We are also happy for the victories that have been fought and won by Democrats and African Americans before us. Yeah, someone writes, also, Trump doesn't even want more Nigerians in the United States. Shit all countries. Remember, our successes in the United States have not been protected from the same racist and discriminatory policies targeted at other people of color. So what's the point of this problem? Well, I think you guys can answer that. Absolutely, from a Yale common room to Airbnb to golfing while black, so-called Nigerian exceptionalism has not protected us from casual racism in America. Looks like Miss Owen just read Thomas Sowell and thought using Nigerian achievement as a wedge on black solidarity looks cool. Ooh, guys, do you agree to what this writer said? Now, someone replied, look to your political party for reasons you claim are someone else's fault. They have kept far too many African Americans under the yoke of free handout. Discrimination is practiced one way or the other in all societies, and it is doubtful that will ever change. It's real story. Very true. For how long will they want handouts? Well, let me leave that. So here someone writes, Dr. Aloy said, Candace, I am not sure which ignorant mob you're feeding with this reductive approach, but I must tell you it sounds both unintelligent and ill-informed, and I say this as one of those successful Nigerian Americans about whom you speak. Now I think there's going to be a lot of response to this anyway. Here someone writes, Doc, she hasn't spoken ill of Nigeria. I'm at loss on the reason for this tirade. Perhaps it's because I'm familiar with her context, the tiny veiled slapdowns and undertones. Like I pointed out before, she used the word underdeveloped rather than underprivileged, and she used the word overprivileged for the Americans. Now let me go further. Yeah, she someone writes, Doctor, I think you swapped from a position of bias earlier you had preconceived. You might want to objectively look at the submission again. And here someone writes, Candace, the poor racist MLK will say anything to make a mark. Give her more room and she generally makes zero sense. So this shows that some people are not in support of what she has said. They don't like her presentation. And here someone writes, I'm a Nigerian American and may agree with you on that statistics. However, the reasons for our success in the United States transcends beyond your reason and is multifaceted. Now she's blaming the poor performance of Americans. Let me use the word black American. Okay, let's say African Americans. She's using the poor performance. She's saying that the reason why Nigerian Americans perform better is because they've not been under that system where they are, they've not been brainwashed, they've not been shut down, they've not been. I don't know what words I can use to analyze this. So she's just saying, in other words, the reason why they succeed is because they are coming from a different place and they have a different mindset. We for so many years we've been brought down, we've been crushed, we've been this, we've been that. But the truth is this. Let's be sincere. I don't think anybody from Africa or from Nigeria have a different color of skin. In fact, I think the accent itself, African accent, plays a huge. It's so much against them. Even when you are amongst African Americans, once they hear that African accent and they realize you don't pronounce words the way they do, the next thing they do is they begin to look at you like, oh, you from Africa? No, I'm from America. And at the end of the day, when we talk about racism, when we talk about this issue of racism, they don't care about how you sound any longer. A Caucasian would be racist against you. Why? Not because of the way you sound, but because of the color of your skin. And that's a mental problem anyway. So that being said, so she's blaming the low performance of African Americans on the base at all. What she's saying is she's actually saying that this is as a result of Democrat parasite of victimhood. So she's blaming victimhood, that they've been victimized. That is why. Now, question is this: will the police, a Caucasian police in America, United States, stop an African American and not, okay, let me use the word harass an African American and not a Nigerian American, because he doesn't know the difference. All he sees is the color. He doesn't care. But when you speak, you might say, oh, I think this one is from somewhere from Africa. But nevertheless, to him, it's the same thing. Well, you might say culturally, probably the African Americans, they've had this, from the slave era down to, all the stuff that happened there. But I think things have changed to a point now. It's time for them to, lay hold on the bull, lay hold on the horns of the bull now. And she should stop the Democrat parasite of victimhood story. They should focus, and moreover, I think another explanation is that some have already said is that they actually came to the United States with something on their mind. They have a goal. Probably an African American does not have that. They feel like I don't have any other place to go to. I don't have any other thing to invest on. I'm not saying they don't invest. I don't have anything to invest on, so why should I have to bother to keep money aside? Why do I have to hustle so hard? I think at the end of the day, I'm going to get my pension. So they just once they get their salary, the money get paid to them. The next thing is they look for something to spend the money on immediately. While a Nigerian American may not want to do that. They want to keep money aside for this, for that. Probably that gives them the sense of responsibility. Probably makes them. Probably that's what she is not saying here. Anyway, but then that's our own personal analysis, guys. So what do you think about what everybody's saying here? What do you think about it? Let me read some more comments. Here, someone say, and how is Nigeria working for you who isn't living on the path? Okay, let me leave that. I think they are coming at each other. Here, someone writes, this woman is ignorant. This is a post 1980 immigrant group from the elite tribes of their country being compared to. Okay, let me read what this person is talking about. She's not educated enough to be talking okay, I don't know, media Nigerian families. What? Okay, let me see what is. Yeah, someone writes asset, debt, and net worth values. Asset values: white own considerably more in assets along with Asian, Indians, Japanese, Chinese in the table. Oh well, I think this one is actually looking at some statistics. We examined liquid blah blah blah. So white own more, US black, and African black, and Mexican. Well, I don't know where this statistics is actually gotten from. So let me go further. Yeah, someone said Nigeria is not Africa. Nigeria is a country in the continent called Africa. So thank you. So this person is actually correcting Mr. Antonio Moore. That's actually bringing out the statistics that we are talking of a country in Africa. Africa is a continent, just like you say Europe. So this is not. This is a general statistic. So we are talking about Africa. Nigeria singled out amongst the rest of Africans and African Americans. That's what I think. Yes, he replies, said, this is ignorant. This is the regional African population in LA sampled. Yes, I still won't take those emails from Nigeria very seriously. Well, this one is saying something. If you did, I totally blame you for that. Can't believe okay, let me leave that. Most time it's greedy people that get scammed. Okay, that's a response to Mr. Emails from Nigeria. If you are I'm not saying cybercrime is good, but then if you're not greedy, you don't get scammed easily. Because someone is telling you is a prince from somewhere and he has huge deposit of gold, and because you believe that there is gold in Africa, since your ancestors must have stolen few of that or more, and you feel like, oh, okay, send me some money so I can send you the shipment, how much you owe, and you fall for that. You're greedy because you want what you what doesn't belong to you anyway? So let me leave that. That's a topic for another day. Here, someone write, Mr. D just flew with a Nigerian-American co-pilot and he can't stop raving about what an house. Okay, let me leave that one. So here someone sent a picture of Lagos State, Nigeria, and said looks pretty underdeveloped to me, right? So this is under. Sometimes you, and Candace is an African American, and one wonder she has not done this African ancestry test. I think if you're listening to this, Candace, I think you should do that and find out where you are from in Africa, so you can visit. That picture you see right there is Lagos, just a part of Lagos. This is not Lagos State in totality. This is just a portion of Lagos State. So you look at that. Does that look like it is under, or whatever name she actually called this? So that's it. Someone writes when you have medical emergency, so someone's trying to building equals development. When you have medical emergency, let me know how long it took for ambulance to arrive. If it ever does, then let me know how swiftly the ER attend to you. If they don't insist on a down payment, human development is through a measure of progress. So someone is responding to this. Yeah, the argument is right, is correct. How fast do you get medical attention if you call emergency? These are part of what we are talking about. So it's not just about building structures that are not functioning. A system, a society is supposed to function as humans. Apart from building, you might have just 5 structures, buildings, but as long as you have that functioning system, that shows that you are moving forward. So that's true there. Here, someone, you forgot to post a picture of public school buildings. So someone is actually saying, oh, why don't you show pictures of public schools? There are some public schools that are kind of they are not fit for animals anyway, because the governor of that state looted everything and stole money. So people are actually saying a lot of things. The argument is kind of getting interesting. Yes, someone say when some people are trying to paint us good, some dumb ass Nigerians are tarnishing it. So this one is trying to kind of say, why are you saying this? Why would we would rather be painted good than actually feel good? So these are two things: painted good and actually feel good. There are two different things. Yes, someone says citation needed. My father is from Africa, disagrees with you. Oh, anyway, yeah, someone right. We have our faults, but are never victims, and we will always come together to crush anyone that tries to make us victims. So that's in response to Candace. If you feel African Americans have been victimized, I think time for them to stand up and say no more of that any longer. Fight for your space more and more. Here, someone writes, how come I agree with every statement she made? I'm from Zambia, plus my in-laws are Nigeria. All right, I'm from Nigeria and she's spot on. Here, someone writes, is Nigeria a shithole country? Well, that's for you to respond to. Dude, we already told you we are not victims. Go and try that crazy with black American Democrats. Maybe they will feel some type of way. We already know how undeveloped our countries are and are working on it. We don't feel offended. We feel challenged to improve. Ooh. Now, someone writes, why you are all busy being oppressed? They see your country as the greatest nation and themselves a lucky few. It's only a matter of time before they start running for office in your own country. Mark my words. Now, there are African Americans returning back to Africa. Some of them have moved down to Ghana, but Nigeria has not signed or accepted for this mass exodus. I think they don't want any of the African Americans poking their nose into the oil and loot and stuff like that. I don't know, but it would have been nice if they can actually allow African Americans to come in, but then they can actually do it batch by batch. I mean, not just you're free, Africa belongs to you, come in. They should be able to do a kind of assessment. They should be able to do a kind of interview and see what you have, what you want to do, what position do you want to fill up. We don't need some crazy African Americans that have nothing to offer in the United States of America coming back to Africa and adding up to the problems there anyway. So I'm just saying that. I'm not saying African Americans should not come back. That's their motherland. Don't get me wrong. If you're an African American, don't get offended. You can come back. But I'm just saying the same way Africans cannot just dust their passport and say, okay, we want to come over to where our kinsmen are. It's the same way they might not be allowed to just come in just like that. Anyway, that's just my own thought. So I've said a lot, I've read a lot. There's so much to read. There's so much to talk about here. Yes, someone writes, you're absolutely correct. Same goes for the Hispanic community. The Cuban outperform the Mexicans because they are grateful for living in a non-socialist country. They are awake to the. All right, so someone is actually saying right, okay, Candice is ignorant. Nigerians are heavily vetted and come here educated. We are not getting there poor. They outperform white and Asians because they are educated already. They are intelligent already. They have it inside of themselves. They just need a platform. Because we don't have equal opportunities in life. So if there are opportunities over there in the United States of America, the only thing they did is just to grab that opportunity and make good use of it. Someone writes, overall 28 of black immigrants have a college degree, but this varies widely by country of origin. So let's see. Of course, we know that Nigerians are very good when it comes to that education thing, and you have to know which Nigeria is also so big, and we have different groups there, tribes and ethnic groups. We have the Hausa, we have the Igbo, we have the Yoruba, and the rest. Now you find most of the times you find Yorubas traveling to the United Kingdom and United States of America. That's where you oftentimes and Canada. That's where you find Yoruba people. They dominated that part of the world. And then when we talk about Italy, you find the other minority group in Nigeria also occupying that part, and then it is spread like that all over. So here, someone writes, U.S. population 31%, U.S. immigrants 30, U.S. black immigrants 28. I don't know about the statistics anyway. So here, someone writes, among black immigrants from Nigeria 59%, and they are talking about people that have college degrees, 59%, followed by Kenya, then Ghana, Ethiopia 31, Guyana, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago 80, Dominican Republic and Somalia. So Nigeria tops it. That's why they've been able to do this anyway. Now they know is that foreign born blacks include single race blacks and multiracial blacks regardless of Hispanic origin. Top 10. All right, I'm gonna leave that anyway. So yeah, someone right, if your claim is absolutely correct, don't you think that 100% of Nigerian immigrants would come with a bachelor degree or higher? All right. And by the way, are you suggesting that black Americans don't have access to higher education? Black Americans have nothing in common with any group in America to be comparing them to anyone. We achieved everything other groups achieved in America, but it was disrupted by government policy up until today. Different story. Apples and oranges. Apple, okay. Anyway, Candice is ignorant. Anyway, that's just what it is. They work their asses off, just all the legal immigrants from third world countries do. You'll never see one of the folks from Nigeria or Asia begging on street corner or camped on the street. They work hard to advance. So in the United States of America, you find lots of homeless. Now, I'm not talking of African Americans. I'm talking of Caucasians on the streets. I don't know their conditions, so I'm not going to judge them. I'm just pointing out. You find lots of them on the street. So this man here, David Kemp, is saying you will never find any legal immigrants or emigrants or whatever you want to call them on the streets begging for money, begging for whatever thing it is, or camped somewhere homeless. Someone right, it still doesn't eliminate the systematic racism, police brutality, and mass incarceration African Americans are subjected to. Most Nigerian immigrants don't live in project hoods. I am not an African American, but I know enough history to relate to these struggles. Wow. So, do you agree to this? What this person just wrote down here, that Africans that don't really, that's legal immigrants, don't really like hanging out at the project hoods. They don't like to stay there. They want to upgrade. Yeah. So, all right. What is the relationship between your reply and Atoye? All right. Go read up about Candice Owed to get context. You bet I have some friends from college who are Nigeria, smart as hell, hard workers. So I'm very impressed. I'm from Nigeria. I work a lot of Nigerians in the medical field. You speak the truth. So I have some Nigerian friends, and you're absolutely right. They are the most upstanding, professional, hard-working people I know. This statistics doesn't surprise me at all. They are complete opposite of victims. Upstanding, hardworking, professional, great value, recipe for success to be shared. Success isn't easy. You have to work for it. So here's someone right for. So why are white conservatives in the South so poor if it's all about following a conservative ideology? Well, I don't know that, brother. You notice she only refers to them outperforming blacks, neglecting mention they outperform many white as well. Totally, she's totally transparent. Really? All right. So I can go on and on and on about this. I mean, Candace, she said it, and Nigerians responded. African Americans also responded, and of course, you know, a lot of people are responding. And someone is actually showing picture of Nigeria city here. He said this is what happens when people don't travel. The ignorance is glaring. Like I said, Candace, if you're listening to this, or you know Candace, share this link. She needs to visit Africa anyway, or she needs to come back here on Twitter and tell us what she actually meant by what she's saying. So someone is showing the picture of Africa, Nigeria here, and that does this look like what she's saying? Anyway, someone is actually even oh my god, someone said look up Banana Island. Nigeria is booming and beautiful, it's still developing, so it has its struggles, but Lagos is up and coming cosmopolitan city of Africa. I love Nigerians. So someone is actually showing pictures of, you know, houses that are fenced and they look so good, villas. Well, yeah, someone writes, developing is the key word. America is already developed, and if some beautiful and built up. Now when you talk about develop, what about the guys, people sleeping on the streets? I don't know. Well, probably they were once developed and now they are falling behind. I don't know, because you find a lot of hungry and homeless people on the streets, and they've not been able to take care of that. Maybe it's complex, I don't know. They've not been able to take care of that condition, that situation. But yet you see some Caucasian, I don't want to call them, they call themselves saviors, that go to Africa and they hope to save people there. But then there is trouble right there, and they say charity begins at home. Probably they think, oh well, these ones, they have opportunities, they just don't want to make use of it. I think let me go down to the people that have less of these opportunities, probably. So it could be. So here someone right, Nigeria is being built up by the Chinese are getting them into debt. They can't pay it back. Once the Chinese are finished, they will kick them away from modern areas. They have no military to defend themselves from the Chinese. This is true, somehow sounds true, so they should watch out for this too. Yes, all right, I agree with you on that. China doing that all across Africa. They are the new colonialist. I understand that Africa is a continent of many countries, cultures, but what can Africa do as a whole to reach its destined greatness? I want to see all of Africa thrive. My advice is kick them out now, pay off what they've done, go your separate ways. The more they build, the more debt Africans will get in. It's already places in Africa where Africans can go to after 6 p.m. How the hell do you allow foreigners punk you in your own country? So I'm going to end with this. You can drop your comment in the section below. If you live abroad, you've got families abroad, how has it been like for you over there? How do people see you? How can you rate yourself? And while you're at that, may I remind you to kindly tap on that subscription button and also the red notification icon bell, so you will be the first to be notified whenever videos are uploaded. Thanks for stopping by.